Vaccinations. Throughout our life, probably a majority of us have gotten vaccinations. You think about it, you go to public school, you need them. How many of us actually get the flu vaccine every year? Well, on this episode of Harford County Living with Rich Bennett, I have the Harford County Health Department on, and we are going to talk about the COVID-19 vaccination. I know some people have been leery about getting it. I know others that are anxious to get it. I know people that have had COVID and are doing fine. I know others that actually struggled with it. So, is the vaccination for you? On this episode, we're going to answer a lot of those questions. Stay tuned. Hey, before I get started, I want to talk to you about the Chesapeake Podcast Network. The Chesapeake Podcast Network is a collection of podcasts which are somehow tied to the Chesapeake Bay area. Wherever the location is, if they're even in California, but if they somehow or another have ties to the Chesapeake Bay area, then their podcast can be on the Chesapeake Podcast Network. And it's free. So if you have a podcast, why not join the Chesapeake Podcast Network? It just makes sense. Go to ChesapeakePodcastNetwork.com and look at some of the great podcasts that we have on there. You have Air Candy. Air Candy is an opinion podcast where longtime friends Colleen and Seth explore a wide variety of interesting and relevant topics while exploiting the details of their daily lives and past adventures. That's just one of them. You also have other great podcasts, such as the Hot Seat podcast. What's unfiltered conversation without video games, a couple drinks, and real dads? That's what the Hot Seat podcast is. Prepare yourself for hot takes, aplenty, and the occasional light bulb, as the Hot Seat is the podcast you didn't know you needed. That's just another one that's on there. Thirsty Maryland. Thirsty Maryland podcast is a great podcast where you have Mike and Rachel going to these different wineries and I believe breweries, just talking to the people there about how they make the stuff. Awesome podcast. And of course, Leah Finder and Harford Business Beat. Harford Business Beat with the Harford Chamber of Commerce, where you're learning about all these different chamber members and their businesses. Check it out again. It's ChesapeakePodcastNetwork.com.
Welcome to Harford County Living with Rich Bennett, coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union studios. Each week, you'll hear interesting interviews, commentary, discussions, storytelling, and more. Here's your host, Marine Corps veteran, professional DJ, entrepreneur, podcaster, and my father, Rich Bennett.
I'd like to welcome everybody to Harford County Living with Rich Bennett. Today, we have the Harford County Health Department on again, and we are going to talk about something very important, the COVID-19 vaccine. It's, of course, it's out there. Everybody knows about it, has been hearing about it. And I know people have questions, and we have the staff here to answer all those questions, which is great. So welcome, everyone. And, God, the vaccine, I'm going to start off with a question that I've been getting from a lot of people. And that is why it seems like a lot of people are having a hard time getting scheduled to get the vaccine. So what is it that they're missing? Are they going to the wrong place or what?
Rich, this is Dr. Bashai. I'm the health officer at Harford County. And the bottom line of why it's difficult to get a vaccination appointment is because of the worldwide shortage of vaccines. Mm-hmm. We're used to always finding a product. The only thing that used to be in shortage was, I guess, concert tickets for the latest rock star.
Yeah.
And you would know that, if, I'm going to date myself, if it's Bruce Springsteen and you click one day late, you're not going to get a Bruce Springsteen ticket.
Right.
There's only one Bruce Springsteen. Well, there's just not enough vaccine. And the supply of vaccines is growing, but it's growing at about 5 to 10% per week. Meanwhile, 2.5 million Marylanders are eligible for vaccine by being older than 65 or health workers or with disabilities. But the vaccine supply isn't growing that fast.
Right.
So you'll pre-register, but that's not the same as getting an appointment. Because we're able to vaccinate first doses at about 200 first doses a day, and we have 20,000 people waiting in the county. Just
Wow.
do the math. Now, the good news is that the supply is growing, and the supply is going to increase as the pharmacies and doctors' offices and hospitals and mass vaccine clinics open up. There will be more outlets. The trouble is that there is no one-stop shopping for an appointment. And many people want the state of Maryland to open one-stop shopping, so you click one place and then you get picked up by the closest clinic to you.
Right.
That hasn't happened, and I wish it would, but that requires the state. As the health department, we are currently the largest outlet for vaccines, but we won't stay the largest. We don't want to be the largest. We want this
Right.
vaccine to be coming out everywhere. But for now, we're the largest, and our vaccine site is overwhelmed with too many people who want a dose and not enough doses. So we have people pre-register. Now we know who they are and how to reach them. And when a slot opens up, we reach out and offer them a slot. We do that in priority groups, as you know. That the highest priority right now has been the healthcare workers and first responders. We've pretty much done with them. We've moved into the seniors over 75, as well as certain classes of workers, people in education, people in continuity of government, like elected officials, as well as people living with other disabled people in group homes and assisted living. So they're all in top priority, and we automatically put priority on the ones that are at most risk inside that, and that is the seniors over 75. So there's a priority system here at the health department that really gives priority to those over 75. And beyond that, we want the 75-year-olds that don't have it easy, that aren't internet savvy, that don't know how to click on a link. We want to get them help from their nieces and nephews and sons and daughters and neighbors. And Harford County stepped up to offer that help. We know that people on this call have done that. And if you haven't done that and you're listening to this podcast, pick up the phone and call your great aunt and say, have you been registered? Especially if you think they haven't been. If you know that, your senior loved one is totally tech savvy and is posting on Twitter all day long, don't bother. But if they're not, help them, call them, see if you could help them, pre-register them, or go beyond that. And, if you want to get an appointment at a Walgreens, you're going to be clicking and clicking like you're chasing down Springsteen tickets. Do that for Aunt Bertha. Help her. Get her registered, because if she doesn't have help, she's going to be left behind, and I don't want that.
And if they can't register at Walgreens, like you said, they can call the health department.
They can call the health department. We will get to everybody eventually, but our supply isn't growing as fast as the supply is growing in the private sector.
Now, another question that I had people ask me, and I don't know if this is true or not. They said a lot of the vaccines are getting tossed because people aren't showing up for their appointments or whatever, and apparently the vaccines are taken out 5 at a time and they can't be refrozen. Is that true?
No, that's a rumor. That's not true. We have not wasted any doses of vaccines. We've not had to discard a single one because of not keeping it in the refrigerator. They do come in 10-dose vials, and we're setting up a standby flyers system. So we will be nominating people who are willing to fly on standby. They'll be notified to help us. There's at no point will we ever have a situation where there's ever more than at most 9 doses. They come in 10-dose vials. If we have to open that last vial and use one for a scheduled clinic, worst case scenario is there are 9, and our standby flyers up till now have been able to take up the slack, and we're going to systematize standby flying at our clinics. And the same is happening out at the private sector. There are always people flying standby, and no wastage has occurred.
I am glad you said that, because, well, you know how rumors go, and that's one of the biggest ones I've been hearing. I was like, no, that can't be the case. But I'm glad you said that now. Thank you for giving me the answer for that one, Dr. Bashai, because that's going to make a lot of people happy now. So tell everybody how important it is to get this vaccine.
Well, this vaccine will lower your risk of COVID from a pretty high number down to only 5% of that number.
Oh, wow.
That high number is pretty high. Right now, I'll just pick on Jarrettsville since they're having a rough time right now. In Jarrettsville, in our county, 10% of the people in that county have been already infected with COVID. And their rate is so high, it stands to infect another 10% of them over the coming year. So if you are living in Jarrettsville and you are indeed facing that 10% chance, supposing you're young and strong, you say, no, it's okay, I'll just get COVID, I'll be okay. You won't be okay because you will probably pass it to somebody you love,
right.
And you will hurt your family. You will pass it to somebody that you care about. So this is something where you can lower your risk of getting sick and hurting your family with passing the disease to them. So that risk is high. It's 10%. And you, by getting vaccinated, can drop that risk down to 5% of 10%, which is 0.5%. That is so much better than your odds if you don't get vaccinated. Now, that's for the young people. But right now, if you're a senior, you're facing a risk of severe disease or even worse if you don't get vaccinated. So we're trying to get them to understand that. And it's true. People in that upper age group know the story. They know that this is a threat to their survival. And we want to reach them as fast as we can. And we wish we had the supply to do it even faster, but we don't.
Now, is this similar to the flu vaccine where you should get it every year? Or is this a one-time thing where you get vaccinated? Well, of course, because it's 2 doses, and then you don't have to get vaccinated again.
We don't know the answer to that right now.
Okay.
There's 2 reasons we don't know the answer. We've only had these products for less than 4 months.
Right.
So we don't know how long the antibodies last, and we don't know what the mutants are doing. We already know that in South Africa, there's a mutant strain that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine doesn't work for. Our vaccines, Moderna and Pfizer, look like they're okay, but what if another mutant comes by? Mm-hmm. Essentially, in flu vaccines, there's a new flu strain every year, which is why we need a new flu vaccine every year. We don't know what this COVID virus is going to do in terms of mutating around our vaccines. We're hopeful it could be one and done. We won't know until the summer or late fall whether or not the virus will mutate around the vaccine. But right now, with this virus, this is the right thing to do. Get this vaccine because it works.
So, and I guess it's too early to be able to tell this. But with the flu vaccine, you said there's a new strain every year. So they're always upgrading the flu vaccine. Do you see maybe down the line, would they be able to take the COVID vaccine and somehow or another mix it with the flu vaccine? Or is that something that they probably wouldn't want to do?
So in terms of mixing it with the flu vaccine, that's way far down the line. But
okay,
as you know, childhood vaccines are many antigens to lower the number of shots that people have to have. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Right now, we don't even know if we'll have to do a COVID shot every year. I hope we don't. And
I hope so too. And now with the children too, I mean, what's the age to where, I guess, the youngest that they should get the vaccine?
So the Pfizer vaccine is allowed for 16 and over, and the Moderna vaccine for 18 and over. We're working on developing brand new vaccines for children that have been tested in children, but these vaccines right now have not been tested in children.
Okay. The other thing with the vaccine, and again, you hear rumors, side effects, which, and we know everything has side effects. And I guess with this, they're still learning of some side effects, but nothing major, correct?
Yeah, the side effects have been mostly mild, things that you can deal with. Why don't I let Marcy and Molly talk about their side effects, but they're stuff that you can deal with.
Right. Rich, I did have a slight side effect with the second dose of Moderna, where
Okay.
it just felt like flu-like symptoms. I was woke up with chills, and then you're sweating, and but it was gone just like that within 24 hours. So that was my experience. I don't know if Molly had any side effects from hers.
So I had side effects with the first dose of Moderna, and my arm was so sore, um, the next couple of days, but also I just felt very worn down. And actually having COVID, I felt like I had COVID again when, the next day. But after about after a couple hours, it went away, and I didn't have any issues with the second vaccine. So that was interesting.
Wait a minute. So you had already tested positive for COVID before?
Yes, we all had it in December.
Really?
Yes, really.
Wait a minute, because that's the last podcast. So remember how I was talking? I didn't do it.
Oh no, it was the weekend after Thanksgiving. My
This
kids
past
got it.
December.
Yes, my kids got it at
Okay.
daycare. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay. Whew. I was going to say, if it was December of 2019, I'm sorry, but it's.
Oh no. This past December, my kids got it like the weekend after Thanksgiving, gave it to us, so we were pretty much wiped out the month of December.
So everybody in the health department is getting the vaccine. What about their spouses?
No, we haven't gotten outside of just the staff so far.
Just the staff right now. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
we really, just to say that not everybody in the health department is a 1A health worker, and to be eligible for the vaccine, you have to be a 1A health worker or being on our front line in a vaccine clinic. We've been trying to enforce that.
Okay. And I think this is another rumor too, but a friend of mine who works in daycare does not want to get the vaccine because she's young. And she heard supposedly one of the side effects, which I have not seen anything about this, was that for women, it could, God, I'm drawing a blank here. They may have problems getting pregnant. You haven't heard about any side effect like that, correct?
So the trials did not include anybody who was pregnant or wanting to be pregnant. So from the actual studies of the vaccine, there's very limited data. There might be a reason why people think that, because they hear the word RNA and they might think, oh, that has to do with genetics. But the fact is that messenger RNA cannot get into the cells that are making our eggs and sperm, so they cannot affect that. Furthermore, we know that not being vaccinated is proven. COVID causes miscarriages. So not getting vaccinated, we know that that will play havoc with a pregnancy. And not only that, people who are pregnant have lowered immunity and are more likely to get COVID because of their lowered immunity. So if the decision is thinking, I want to become pregnant this year, should I get vaccinated? That has to be brought up with your doctor and weigh in the risk to you of getting COVID. Maybe you're on like a daycare worker and so on. But if the worry is, what thing will lower my chances of getting pregnant and having a healthy pregnancy, as far as I know, the things we know is that COVID is something that will threaten your pregnancy, and the vaccine still is unknown. But all the biology we know tells us that the chance that this vaccine can hurt a pregnant woman or their pregnancy, that just doesn't look biologically plausible right now.
Right. So with the vaccination, there are different stages, right, for the people to get it, like 1A, and all that.
Right. So there are priority groups that are listed on the CDC website and the state of Maryland website, and it's pretty easy to figure out in general, but there are some small subclassifications that you might want to go over.
Okay. And I'll make sure. You said that's on the CDC website?
CDC and covidlink.maryland.gov is the best way to find that.
All right, I'll put a link in the show notes for that too, so people can know. Because I'm sure people that are, well, of course, aren't on the front lines and are in their 20s or whatever, they're not eligible to get it yet, right?
Right. The people that are under 65 have to be in what the state has listed as an essential category, and they're in group 2, and that's not going to open up until probably April or May.
Okay. And one other thing, because I know how some people are, they'll get the vaccine and think they're fine. Even after you get the vaccine, you should still wear the mask, correct?
That's right.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure that people know that. That just irritates me when people say, I got the vaccine, I'm fine. No, you're not. Go ahead and wear the mask. It's not that hard. I think everybody's getting used to it now, though, be honest with you. At least I am.
Yeah, it's becoming a little more. I mean, I'll tell you something. I'm watching TV shows that were recorded in 2019, and they go into a restaurant or, do a bus stop, and I say, hey, guys, why aren't you wearing your mask to the television set?
Well, look how many people now are making it it's part of their fashion.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty neat.
Rich, it has to coordinate. Come on.
Now I know why people are laughing at me saying my mask doesn't match what I'm wearing.
That's right.
Man.
I still get out of my car and walk to the store, and I'm like, crap, I need my mask.
You know what? In all honesty, I think I've done that one time. And because I'm used to, I'm the one in the house that does all the grocery shopping and everything. So I'm the one that's out all the time, and I just got so used to it.
Right.
I learned to put a mask in my car because I've driven somewhere before and I didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And you can't really pull. Well, yeah, if you don't wear a T-shirt, you can't pull it up and over.
That's right.
So, do you guys have anything to add about the vaccine?
I just have one comment. Just as public health workers, it's our nature to help people and everything. So it's really disheartening that we don't have more vaccines and that we can help more people. That's all.
But you know what? In all honesty, Marcy, you think about it. The vaccine's already out. That's something that's unheard of. How long does it usually take for a new vaccine to come out?
That's exactly right. You're right.
So, that to me, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the vaccines. Let's work on some more treatments. And I think if everybody just follows the guidelines, I think, we'll get through this.
That's right.
Together. So, well, one thing I do want to say is, first of all, I want to thank you all because you are more or less on the front lines. You guys are dealing with this all the time. And I want to thank you. I'm pretty sure that's something you all don't hear a lot, but it's, believe me, it's very much appreciated because you guys, since this has started, have been following this and working on everything. And it's just amazing. So thank you very much for that. And again, as always, it's great to hear you guys and can't wait to see you all in person.
Thank you, Rich.
If I'm still doing this, because now Dr. Bashai is getting this high-tech equipment for podcasts, he might put me out of work here.
You're so talented, Rich. I'm not worried at all.
Well, thank you, everybody, once again. And you all heard it here. It's okay. God, get the vaccine. Keep the mask on. Social distance. God, I don't know how many more times people have to be told. Well, I do know infinity, but we'll get through it.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank the Harford County Health Department for coming on again, and I'm hoping that put a lot of you at ease. Actually, I hope it put everyone at ease. I know it put me at ease, and I'm ready to get the vaccine now. If there were some questions that you had that were not answered, don't forget you can go to covidlink.maryland.gov, and they have a lot of questions on there, like, can you choose which brand of the vaccine you get? Are you able to get the vaccine outside of your county where you live at? What do you need to know before you get the vaccine? All kinds of questions on there. So again, that's covidlink.maryland.gov. harfordcounty.gov. You can also go to harfordcountyhealth.com. harfordcountyhealth.com. There's a lot of information about the vaccine and COVID-19 on there. And, of course, you can always go to cdc.gov. And also, if there are any questions or any topics that you would like me to discuss on the podcast, especially if the health department, let me know. Just email me at rbennett, that's BENNETT, at harfordcountyliving.com. I've had some people want me to talk about mental health with the health department, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about. And actually, once we can start meeting in person again, there's a group of us, we're going to do a nice roundtable discussion on mental illness. So there's a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about. But again, if there's any topics or if there's someone in particular you want me to try to get on the podcast, just let me know, and I'll make sure at least I'm going to do my best to make it happen. Few things that I would like to remind you all about. Number one, please, 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 please leave a review of the podcast. All you have to do is go to lovethepodcast.com/Harco Living. Again, that's lovethepodcast.com/Harco Living. And while you're at it, if you can, please buy me a coffee. That's right, buy me a coffee. Well, you're not really buying me a coffee. You're making a donation so I can keep this podcast going. Yeah, it's because of you and my sponsors that I'm allowed. Well, I'm not allowed. I'm able to keep this podcast going. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot more that you can even imagine. So just go to buymeacoffee.com/Harco Living. Again, that's buymeacoffee.com/Harco Living. And it's that time again. That's right. I am giving away a $25 gift card to Route 24 Ale House. The winner's going to be chosen on Wednesday, March 17th, my father's favorite holiday, St. Patrick's Day. And all you have to do is leave a review of the podcast. And you know where to go to do that. lovethepodcast.com/Harco Living. So leave a review. I'm going to pick one person at random. That person will get a $25 gift card to Route 24 Ale House, where you can go and enjoy a kickin' bourbon burger, which is out of this world. Wings have to be the best wings around, and all types of different beer on tap. So again, just leave a review, and good luck. March 17th, we're going to have the winner.